Neon signs and art are everywhere, from restaurants to weddings, theaters to museums. You may even have a neon sign in your home or office. Creating a digital version of this trending art style is actually pretty easy if you avoid a few key mistakes. Today, I'm going to show you how to create your own digital neon artwork in Procreate. I'll walk you through how to choose your text or art, how to actually create the effect, and even how to display it on a digital wall. Let's get started. The key mistakes I'm going to help you avoid as you create neon art are having a light background or not enough contrast, using the wrong colors for your actual neon sign, and using the wrong blend modes for your bloom and glow effects. All of these things can make your neon sign either not look good or not look very realistic. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way and get an amazing looking digital neon sign. Let's talk about some best practices for creating digital neon art. You do want to use bright colors for the actual artwork or text on your neon, and you want to have a dark background or at least an overlay so that you can get this contrast. Let's go ahead and create a new canvas. I'm just going to go ahead and use a square for now. We are going to put a digital wall on this, but for now we're just going to start with a black background. Let's go ahead and color drop that on there. And then we are going to add a new layer for our neon art. You can either do text or you can draw something. It's up to you. Just want to make sure that you're going to use a bright color, highly saturated. If you want to do something in the pink range, just make sure you're going all the way up to that edge there. Bright green, bright yellow, you get the idea. Let's go ahead and do something kind of bright magenta there. And you can either use a brush, monoline works pretty well, and just draw some text. Or you can actually use a font, which is what we're going to do. Come over here to the wrench. That's your action menu. Go to add and add text. And I'm going to write neon sign. And we can make this into a little bit more of a fun font. Let's see what else we can find here. Sometimes ones with outlines like this can be pretty cool for neon. You might do something like that. Let's see what else we have here. You can also find fonts that actually look like the neon scripts. You can download those. I have a whole nother video on how to download, that one looks pretty good. Download custom fonts to your iPad and install them. I'll put a link to that down below and in the card here that's gonna pop in up above. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to adjust the spacing on this real quick. See, if these words are too far apart here, you can come in here to leading. That's the space between lines, and bring them a little bit closer together. There we go. And we'll make this a little bit bigger. Okay, perfect. And once you've got your word, your art, whatever you want to be the focal point of your sign done, then we're going to duplicate this layer twice. So I actually don't need that one. Come over here to your layers panel and you're going to swipe to the left, duplicate, always doing the bottom one. And you're going to do that twice. Now, in order to follow along and make this really easy, we're actually going to rename these layers. So the top one, we're going to rename this to light. The middle one, we're going to rename to bloom. And the bottom one, we're going to rename to shadow. And we're going to change the blend modes on these as well, on some of them, and I think it's just easier to do it now so I don't forget. For the bloom layer, we're going to change this to the add blend mode. We do this just by coming to the little N here. For the shadow layer, we're going to change that to multiply. All right, now we're going to go ahead and hide this shadow layer just for now. Come to this checkbox and just tap in there so it's hidden. Then we're going to start on our light layer, which is at the very top here. And we're going to brighten this up. So we're going to do that in the adjustments menu. Just tap on your little magic wand here. Go to hue, saturation, and brightness. It's going to automatically rasterize your text, meaning it's basically turning it into shapes instead of editable text. You could have done this before, but it's going to automatically do it for you. All right, so hue, saturation, and brightness. And we want to take this up pretty high, somewhere in the range of 75 to 90. You want it to be close to white, but still have a little bit of the color. All right. So I think on camera that looks white, but in my actual artwork here, I can still see some of the pink. So that's what we're going for. On the bloom layer, again, let's go ahead and rasterize this just so we don't have any more issues. So I rasterized that just by clicking on the layer and choosing rasterize. So for the bloom layer, we're actually going to do this in the adjustments menu as well. This is a nice effect to give you different types of glow. So come on down here to bloom, and you just have to play around with this. It really depends on the color you choose of how this shows up. So as you slide, you're going to see the amount of bloom up here change. And if you don't see anything happening down here, then you need to adjust some of these. So the size of it, or the amount of burn, things like that. So different colors show up in different ways. So you can start to see some of the glow happening on the pink here. There we go. We're starting to see some of that bloom happening. And it really just depends. If you pick a green or a yellow, these numbers will be different for you. So you just have to play around with these until you get a glow that you like there. If this effect still isn't strong enough, you can always duplicate this layer. And you can see that gets a lot brighter. If it's too bright, you can tap this A here and adjust the opacity a little bit. So it's just a little bit more bright, not quite enough. So there's a couple different ways to adjust the lighting effect that we're getting on the bloom layer. And this is giving us a nice light effect in the middle, but it's not necessarily getting us the outline that we would like to see. How we're going to do that is we're going to add a couple layers above and below the shadow. And just like that. And we're going to call these Glow 1 and Glow 2. On the layer that we have for Glow 1, we're going to come up here to our colors and go a little bit darker than what we have. Choose a monoline brush. Let's see, how thick is this? Okay, it's pretty good. And then we're basically just going to come in here and outline these letters by hand. And you don't have to be super precise with it. You just want to get so there's a little bit of this color on both sides of the letter form. And this is what's going to give it the outline glow. Okay, that's pretty good there. And then we're going to come to our adjustments menu and use the Gaussian blur on that. See how we get that nice look on that. For Glow 2, we're going to go even a little bit darker, but we're actually going to wait until we put our background on here. It'll be a lot easier to see that. In order to make your digital neon sign look realistic, we're going to put it on an image of an actual wall, not just a background color. Let's go ahead and add a layer above this black here. And I'm going to add a brick wall mock-up on here. I put a link in the description down below where you can find a bunch of different free versions of this. Basically any kind of a image of a brick wall will do. And you're just going to stretch it until it covers your entire canvas like this. Now obviously there's not a lot of contrast here. We're going to do two things for this. With our brick wall selected, we're going to come to our adjustments to hue, saturation, and brightness, and just pull that brightness down quite a bit. I'm at about 35% right now. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little black, it's called a vignette on this, where it's darker on the corners and there's a little bit of a circle in the middle. We're going to add a layer on top of this. Grab our black, and any kind of a soft brush from like the airbrush set in Procreate will do. My opacity is at about 50%, somewhere around 50–60%. And you can use a pretty good size brush for this. And you're just gonna kind of draw a really rough circle around it and then fill in more on the corners, layering up that black. You can even make a bigger circle and go around it again. We are gonna blur this, so again, it doesn't need to be perfect. All right, come back to your adjustments to Gaussian blur. Go ahead and blur that, smooths that out a bit. And if you feel like it's too dark now, you can come back to the layer and take the opacity down just a bit. All right, well, that's looking pretty good. In order to get some of this color mixed into the wall, that's what we're going to use Glow 2 for. Go ahead and grab that darker color that we had before. Get a monoline brush. You're going to want to make it a little bit bigger. And you're basically going to outline this kind of as a cloud shape. I'm not sure how to describe that, but you're not going to necessarily follow the letter forms. You just want to get the whole outline of the word as its, or shape as itself. So I'm just going to kind of go really rough like that. And for this other word as well. Now we're going to go to Adjustments, Gaussian Blur, our best friend. Blur that over, okay? And then the magic happens in this one when we change the blend mode of this layer. Tap the little N here, and you'll see the word color on here a bunch. Color burn, darker color, color dodge. We want the one that just says color and nothing else. It's almost all the way to the bottom. Color right there. And now you can see that that pink is starting to blend into the wall. You may still need to take the opacity of this one down a little bit, but I think that gives it a really nice extra effect. And we're almost done. We're going to add the shadow of the light bulbs onto the wall. Go ahead and turn on your shadow layer. Now we need to turn this into black. Go ahead and grab your black color. We're going to alpha lock this by either tapping on the layer and choosing alpha lock, or using 2 fingers and swiping to the right. So we can see that checkerboard pattern behind there. Tap on it and choose fill layer, turn alpha lock back off. Now when we come to this arrow, which is our transform tool, we can slide that shadow over. And we get a nice shadow of those light bulbs. And you can have this be as dramatic as you'd like. Sometimes I like to take my Glow 1 transparency down a little bit so I can see more of the shadow. Now your sign is done. If you'd like to add one more little realistic detail to it, you can add a little electric cord here. That would go right underneath the shadow, between the shadow and Glow 2. So you're going to go ahead and use black, and you probably want a little bit of a thinner monoline brush. Let's see how thin that is. That's a pretty good size. So you just want to think about where the cords would be and what would be connected. So probably this would come off of the end of this, and then possibly these two would be connected, something like that. You can imagine wherever you think the cords would connect, and they can be thinner or thicker, whatever you'd like. But there you have it, your very own digital neon sign. I hope you found this helpful. I love showing people how to combine creativity and technology on this channel. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate it if you give me a quick thumbs up down below. It really helps my small channel and just tells YouTube that more people should watch this. I cannot wait to see the amazing neon art that you're going to make with this technique. Make sure that you share it on Instagram and tag me at Lori Russell Design. If you want to learn more ways to get creative with your iPad, make sure you watch this video next.